Right now at 6, a state trooper on trial. Opening statements are expected in the Brian North case. He's been charged with manslaughter and the death of a 19-year-old.
Several crashes happening across the state over the weekend. What we know from police this morning.
Also, lawmakers are due back at the state capitol this morning to talk about several bills, one of which could change the way dog owners are held accountable for their dog's actions.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
6 o'clock on a Monday. Good morning, sunshine. Thank you for waking up with us here on Fox 61. I'm Symphony Privet.
And I'm Tim Lammers. Good morning. Coming off what I think was the best day of 2024 so far.
Yes.
As we get over to meteorologist Matt Scott. Legitimately felt like maybe an early summer day.
You warm things up and the man gets happy. You see how that works?
Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it?
Good morning to you. Yeah, temperature's getting well into the 60s. My gosh, what a weekend. Hope you made the most of it. Now, we've settled things down a little bit, but it's still fairly mild as we start the work week. Do have a lot of cloud coverage to talk about. We do have some rain, too, on the way a couple of times this week. But is that it for winter? I mean, you get record highs in the 60s, and one could assume that we've shut the door on the cold stuff. We'll see coming up. Got a light wind out of the northeast, but overall feels pretty good out there as we take a look at the big board. Nothing coming our way anytime soon. Look at these temperatures. They do feel good. 41 in Hartford, 43 in New Haven, 35 in Groton is the coolest number on the board. If that's what you got for cool, what do you got coming later on? Winds, again, fairly light, 5 to 10 miles an hour coming out of the northeast as we get a lot of clouds in the forecast today. But temperatures getting well into the 50s. It's not the 60s. This is still well enough above normal. Coming up, we'll take a look at the numbers for the week, see if winter is going to rear its ugly head one more time. That's coming up. Forecast looking good. What about the traffic on this Monday morning? Good morning, Rachel Piscatelli.
Hey, good morning, Matt. For the most part, I mean, we didn't have a lot of areas of road work this morning, so all of that has wrapped up for your morning commute, which is nice to see here at 6:02. We do have reports of a slowdown here on our maps over in Waterbury this morning, out by exits 25 or so near the Chase Parkway. This is where westbound 84 is traveling around 16 miles per hour. There are no reports of any crashes in the area right now, but of course, we'll keep you posted if we learn more. You can see those brake lights up ahead as traffic is starting to slow out by Chase Parkway on 84. Over in Hartford now, that looks good running into the capital city this morning. Your drive times there, New Britain Ave to the Hartford Tunnel is a 5-minute drive. Route 2, Glastonbury to the Founders Bridge is 6 minutes. Tim and Erica, good morning.
Good morning to you. Well, in just a few hours from now, opening statements are expected to begin in the case of Connecticut state trooper accused of shooting and killing a 19-year-old man while on duty.
Yeah, Trooper Brian North is charged with first-degree manslaughter. We're checking in with Fox 61's Brooke Griffin, joining us live in Milford with a look at his case. Good morning, Brooke.
Hi, good morning to you. The arguments from both sides are going to get started for this case here at Milford Superior Court later this morning. Now, we've been covering this case since it first happened back in 2020. We've been following it every step of the way. In that last update, we saw that North did plead guilty or not guilty to those charges, as specifically that first-degree manslaughter charge. Now, this all began back in January of 2020 when police say Mubarak Soleiman stole a car and led officers on a chase down I-95. Reports show in the days leading up to the chase, Soleiman's mental health had declined, ultimately leading him to steal his Uber driver's car. He was diagnosed with schizophrenia in the past. Investigators say he eventually crashed that car during the chase. That's when North fired 7 shots into the driver's side window at very close range. North told investigators he saw that Soleiman had a knife and thought that he might be getting ready to attack the officers. The Inspector General's office deemed North's actions not justified because, in its words, nobody was in imminent danger. This is the first time in 17 years a Connecticut officer was arrested following a deadly on-duty shooting. The Inspector General said, quote, a reasonable police officer would have realized that the police were in control of the situation and the opportunity existed to take a tactical pause to explore the use of other methods other than deadly force. Now, we do expect to hear from that family again this morning before court gets started. I will be speaking with them, and of course, we'll bring their latest statements to you as soon as we can. Live in Milford, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
Alrighty, thank you, Brooke. We'll check back in with you later on this morning. 6:05 now, a man accused of a deadly hit and run is expected in court for a plea hearing today. James O'Byrne is charged with manslaughter and other crimes. Police say he was behind the wheel when he hit a motorcycle at the intersection of East Rocks Road and Bain Street in Norwalk back in October. Dawn Kraverick was a passenger on the motorcycle. She died at the hospital.
Well, there were several crashes over the weekend across the state.
Yeah, starting off in Vernon this morning, where we've learned 2 cars crashed at the intersection of Route 83 and Hockenham Boulevard. Some scenes from the crash here showing that damage. Firefighters say it happened just after midnight. We are told there were no significant injuries.
In Avon, police said an Apple Watch alerted them to a deadly crash on Old Farms Road near the intersection of Tillotson Road. Officers said they believed the driver was speeding down the road when he crashed into a tree around 3 o'clock yesterday morning. By the time officers got there, the car was engulfed in flames, and they said the driver died at the scene. Then just 2 hours later, a car slammed into the front porch of a home on White Street in Hartford. That driver had to be taken to the hospital. We don't know how bad her injuries are or how she's doing this morning, but officials did inspect the house yesterday and did say it was safe for people to stay inside.
Just before 9:20 yesterday morning, a car rolled over on I-91 South in Middletown. Firefighters say the driver was thrown from the vehicle and rushed to the hospital. We're still waiting to learn the extent of their injuries. Authorities say it happened just past exit 20 on the southbound side. If you're not familiar, that's the Country Club Road exit. Traffic had to be detoured for several hours as crews worked to repair a guardrail damaged during the crash.
In New Britain, officers are investigating after an elderly woman died in her home. So far, all that we know is that the police were called to a home on Brady Avenue late Friday night after a friend of the woman asked for a welfare check. Neighbors said they had to force their way inside, and that's where they found the woman. We still don't know how she died, but officers were on the scene for nearly 12 hours from Friday night into Saturday. State police also said they're helping with the case, but they still haven't told us exactly what they're investigating. Well, state lawmakers are once again expected to hear several bills that are up for discussion, one of which would hold greater accountability for dog owners. The bill would make owners liable for any damage caused by a dog to property or should a dog injure a person. It would also require dogs to be on a leash when the animal isn't on its owner's property. Another measure calls for the Department of Transportation to restore service to the Shoreline East rail line to what they were before the pandemic. And the Public Health Committee will hear a bill that would require data on crowding in emergency rooms to be reported. This includes bed capacity, the number of patients, and how many people have been admitted to a hospital through the emergency department.